The council chamber was huge. Hundreds of alien beings sat in rows that stretched up toward the ceiling. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like they were made of light itself. Ambassador Dae-hyun stood at the center, a small human figure surrounded by creatures that had traveled the stars for thousands of years. He had been Earth's voice here for 5 years. 5 long years of being ignored, mocked, and dismissed. The other species called humans the newcomers or the primitives. They said Earth had only just learned to leave its own solar system. They said humans were too violent, too emotional, too young to matter. Today, Dae-hyun had come with a warning. "Honored Council," he began, his voice steady. "I bring urgent news. The Vryn Dominion is preparing to invade human territory. Their 9th fleet has been mobilized. 5,000 warships are moving toward our borders." A ripple of sound moved through the chamber. Some aliens laughed. Others whispered to their neighbors. Counselor Wraith, a towering being made of purple crystal, stood up. His voice boomed across the room. "Ambassador Dae-hyun," Wraith said with barely hidden amusement. "The Vryn have conquered 40 star systems in the last century.
They are one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy."
"And you expect us to believe they fear humanity?" More laughter echoed through the chamber. Dae-hyun waited for it to die down. His face showed no emotion. "I did not say they fear us," Dae-hyun replied. "I said they are coming to attack us. We have done nothing to provoke this. We are asking the Council to intervene diplomatically, or at minimum to condemn this aggression." Wraith's crystalline face somehow managed to look even more smug. "Perhaps your species did something to anger them. Humans are known for their aggressive nature. The Council will not interfere in what is clearly a dispute of your own making." Dae-hyun looked around the chamber. He saw the same expression on every alien face. They thought this was entertaining. They thought humanity was about to be taught a lesson. They thought Earth would beg for mercy and they would enjoy watching humans be put in their place. "Very well," Dae-hyun said quietly. "Then I am here not to ask for help but to give you a warning. The Vryn 9th Fleet is entering human space in 72 hours. When they do, they will not leave. I want that on record. When your long-range sensors stop detecting any signals from that region of space, you will know why." The laughter grew louder. Wraith shook his head. Bold words from such a young species. "The Vryn will crush you, Ambassador. Perhaps then you will learn humility." Dae-hyun activated his communicator. A holographic message appeared in the center of the chamber. It was addressed to the Vryn Dominion, stamped with Earth's official seal. "This is humanity's formal warning to the Vryn Dominion," the message read. "Turn back now. Do not enter our space. If your fleet crosses into human territory, it will be destroyed. Every ship, every crew. This is your only warning." The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens were laughing so hard some of them were holding their sides. Even the Vryn ambassador watching from a remote screen was sneering. Dae-hyun closed the transmission. He looked directly at Wraith. "I have done my duty. I have warned them. I have warned you. What happens next is not our choice." He turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind him, the laughter continued. Back on Earth, in a military command center buried deep underground, screens showed everything that had happened in the council chamber. General Isol watched Dae-hyun leave. She turned to the officers around her. "Send the order," she said. "Commander Hana, prepare the fleet." 50,000 kilometers from Earth, the UESS Indomitable floated in space. It was humanity's newest and most advanced warship. Inside, Commander Hana stood on the bridge, studying the tactical displays. Around her, 36 other human ships were taking up positions. 37 ships total. That was Earth's entire military fleet. 37 ships to face 5,000. "Commander," her second officer said nervously. "Those odds are impossible," Hana smiled slightly. "Only if you fight fair." She pulled up a file on her personal screen. It was labeled Project Ghost. For 37 years, ever since humanity had joined the galactic community, Earth's best scientists had been studying alien technology. They had learned about energy shields, faster than light travel, and plasma weapons. But they had not just copied these things. They had improved them. They had weaponized them. They had prepared for this exact moment, because humanity knew something the galaxy had forgotten. Humans had spent 10,000 years fighting each other. Every technology, every tool, every discovery had been turned into a weapon at some point. War was written into human DNA. Peace was the exception, not the rule. The aliens had given humanity a gift when they shared their technology. They just did not realize it yet. All ships report ready, the communications officer announced. Hana stood up straight. Move the fleet to the border zone. Set up the net. When the Vryn arrive, I want every advantage in place. Yes, Commander. The human ships began to move. They were smaller than most alien vessels. They looked almost fragile compared to the massive Vryn dreadnoughts. But appearances could be deceiving. 72 hours later, right on schedule, the Vryn Ninth Fleet arrived. Fleet Admiral Kath commanded the Vryn forces from his flagship, the Devastator. He had fought in 50 battles and conquered 20 worlds. When he saw the 37 human ships waiting for him, he almost felt sorry for them. Almost. He opened a communication channel to the human fleet. Commander Hana's face appeared on his screen. She looked calm, almost bored. "Human Commander," Kath said, his voice dripping with contempt. "I am Fleet Admiral Kath of the Vryn Dominion. You have one opportunity to survive this day. Abandon your ships. Evacuate your colonies. Submit to Vryn authority. Do this and your people will be spared." Hana looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "You were warned, Admiral Kath," she said. 72 hours ago we told you not to come here. You did not listen, so now I will give you the same chance you gave us. Turn your fleet around. Leave our space. Do it now and you will survive," Kath laughed. Behind him, his officers laughed too. 5,000 ships against 37. "The humans were insane. I gave you a chance," Kath said. "You refused it. Now you will die. All ships attack formation. Show these primitives what real power looks like." The Vryn fleet surged forward like a tidal wave of metal and fire. 5,000 warships, their weapons charging, their shields glowing. They expected the humans to run. They expected to see panic and fear. Instead, the human ships did not move at all. They just waited, Kath frowned. "What are they doing?" On the bridge of the Indomitable, Hana watched the Vryn fleet approach. She waited until they were exactly 500,000 kilometers away. Then she spoke one word, "Now." The moment Hana said that single word, everything changed. All 37 human ships vanished from Vryn sensors. 1 second they were there, clear as day on every display screen. The next second they were simply gone. On the Devastator, Admiral Kath stared at his screens in confusion. What just happened? Where did they go? His sensor officer was frantically checking his equipment. "I don't know, sir. All our sensors show empty space. No heat signatures, no energy readings, nothing. They cannot just disappear," Kath growled. "Keep firing at their last known positions. Saturate the area." The Vryn fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma beams lanced through space, bright enough to light up the darkness. Energy weapons blazed in every direction, trying to hit something. Anything. They hit nothing but empty space. Then the humans struck back. The first Vryn ship to die was a destroyer on the outer edge of the formation. One moment it was firing blindly into the dark. The next moment something punched through its shields like they were paper. The ship crumpled inward, its hull torn apart by an invisible force. It exploded in a ball of fire, then another ship died. And another. And another. Kath watched in horror as his fleet began to come apart. Ships were dying all around him, and he could not see what was killing them. His screens showed nothing. His sensors detected nothing. It was like invisible ghosts were tearing his fleet to pieces. "Sir," his tactical officer shouted. "I'm detecting solid projectiles. They're using kinetic weapons." Kinetic weapons? Kath could not believe it. Energy shields were designed to stop energy weapons like lasers and plasma. But solid objects moving at incredible speed? Those were primitive. No one used those anymore. Except the shields could not stop them as effectively. The humans were using railguns. Simple metal slugs accelerated to a fraction of light speed. Ancient technology made devastating by modern power sources. And because the human ships were invisible to sensors, the Vryn had no idea where the shots were coming from. In the first 30 seconds, 300 Vryn ships were destroyed or crippled. All ships evasive maneuvers. Kath screamed, "Scatter formation!" Get out of... His order was cut off as the Devastator shook violently. Something had hit them. Alarms blared across the bridge. Hull breach on decks 12 through 15. Engine power at 60%. Someone yelled. The Vryn fleet was trying to scatter, but that only made things worse. When they broke formation, they lost their coordinated shields. More ships died. The humans were picking them off one by one, invisible predators hunting terrified prey. Then Kath saw something that made his blood run cold. For just a moment, one of the human ships became visible. It was right in the middle of his fleet, surrounded by Vryn vessels. It fired a spread of missiles, destroying 2 cruisers, then vanished again before anyone could return fire. They were not hiding at the edge of the battle. They were inside the Vryn formation. They had been there the whole time. "Retreat," Kath ordered. "All ships full retreat. Get us out of here." But the humans were faster. Much faster. Vryn ships that tried to run found human vessels suddenly appearing in front of them, cutting off their escape. Every time a Vryn ship tried to activate its faster-than-light drive, precise shots would disable the engines. The humans were not just winning. They were hunting. This was not a battle anymore. It was a massacre. Kath grabbed his communicator and sent an emergency message to Vryn High Command. "This is Fleet Admiral Kath. The 9th Fleet is being destroyed. The humans have technology we have never seen. Their stealth is perfect. Their weapons penetrate our shields. Request immediate reinforcement," and the response came back cold and uncaring. "Hold your position, Admiral. Victory is expected. Do not disgrace yourself with cowardice." Kath stared at the message in disbelief. They thought he was exaggerating. They thought he was panicking for no reason. They had no idea what was happening out here. He looked around his bridge. Half his crew was already dead or wounded. The Devastator was falling apart around him. Through the windows he could see Vryn ships dying by the dozens, and then Commander Hana's voice came through every speaker on every surviving Vryn ship. "Attention. Vryn 9th Fleet," she said, her voice calm and steady. "You were warned. Your leadership was warned. You came anyway. This is the consequence." On the Indomitable's bridge, Hana stood watching the tactical display. The Vryn fleet was in complete chaos now. Some ships were trying to fight, some were trying to run, and some had just shut down completely, their crews abandoning ship. "Commander," her weapons officer said, "we could finish them all in the next 10 minutes. "No," Hana said. "Target engines and weapons only. Disable them, do not destroy them. Let them survive. Let them go home and tell everyone what happened here." Her second officer looked confused. "Commander, we have them. Why show mercy?" Hana turned to face him. "Because dead enemies tell no tales. But survivors? Survivors spread fear. Every Vryn who escapes today will tell their people what happened. They will say that humanity gave them a chance to leave and they refused it. They will say that we could have killed them all, but we chose not to. That message is worth more than 5,000 destroyed ships." She was right. War was not just about destroying your enemy. It was about breaking their will to fight. And nothing broke an enemy's will faster than showing them they were completely outmatched. 72 hours. That was how long the battle lasted. Not because it was a hard fight, but because the humans were being careful, systematic, professional. They disabled ships instead of destroying them. They collected escape pods and survivors. They made sure every Vryn who lived would remember this day. When it was over, Admiral Kath sat in what was left of his command chair, staring at nothing. His fleet was gone. Not destroyed. Worse. Disabled. Humiliated. Defeated so completely that it was almost insulting. A communication request came through. He almost did not answer it, but something made him accept. Commander Hana appeared on his screen. She looked tired but satisfied. "Admiral Kath," she said, "your crew will be released. Your damaged ships will be towed to the border and left there. You may collect them at your convenience. Your destroyed ships are lost, but we are sending your dead home with full military honors. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them that Earth keeps its promises. We warned you this would happen." Kath found his voice, though it was barely a whisper. How? How did you do this?" Hana smiled slightly. "We have been preparing for this since the day we joined the galactic community. Every species out there shared their technology with us, thinking we were too primitive to do anything dangerous with it. They were wrong. We learned. We adapted. We improved. And when you came to take our worlds, we were ready." She paused, then added, "Go home, Admiral. Tell your leaders that the price for attacking humanity is total defeat. Tell them that if they send another fleet, the outcome will be the same. Earth does not want war, but if war comes to us, we will win it." The transmission ended. Kath sat in silence for a long time. Then he began preparing his report. It would be the most difficult report he had ever written. because he would have to explain how 5,000 Vryn warships were destroyed by 37 human vessels. And he would have to admit that it had not even been close. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. At first, no one believed it. The Vryn Ninth Fleet destroyed by humanity? Impossible. It had to be propaganda or lies or some kind of mistake. The Vryn were one of the most powerful military forces in known space. Humans were newcomers who barely knew how to build a decent starship. But then the survivors arrived home. 700 disabled ships towed back to Vryn space by automated human drones. Thousands of crew members in escape pods all telling the same story. Admiral Kath's official report, sealed and sent directly to Vryn High Command. The evidence was overwhelming. The Ninth Fleet was gone. In the Galactic Council chamber, Counselor Wraith stood before the assembly, his crystalline face somehow managing to look pale. Dr. Minji, Earth's chief xenobiologist who was temporarily serving as ambassador while Dae-hyun handled other matters, had just finished presenting the evidence, sensor logs, battle recordings, testimony from Vryn survivors. All of it pointed to the same impossible conclusion. This cannot be, Wraith said, though his voice lacked its usual confidence. The humans must have had help. They must have used some kind of trick. Dr. Minji stood calmly at the center of the chamber. She was a small woman, but her voice carried clearly. No trick, Counselor. No help, just preparation. Humanity has been getting ready for this since we joined the galactic community. You all shared your technology with us thinking we were harmless. You were mistaken. An ancient voice spoke from the upper levels of the chamber. Counselor Vey, a serpentine being who had sat silent for decades, finally moved. Her species was one of the oldest in the galaxy. When she spoke, everyone listened. We have made a grave error, Vey said softly. We treated humanity as children when we should have recognized them for what they truly are. Survivors. Adapters. Warriors. We gave them the tools to destroy us. And now we must live with that choice. The chamber fell into uneasy silence, but the Vryn were not ready to accept defeat. Their leadership, humiliated and enraged, refused to back down. Within a week, they announced their response. The 12th Fleet would be mobilized. 4,000 ships led by Fleet Marshal Boren, one of the greatest military commanders in Vryn history. This time, the Vryn would be prepared. They studied everything they could from the Ninth Fleet's battle data. They developed countermeasures for stealth technology. They reinforced their armor against kinetic weapons. They planned to overwhelm the humans with pure numbers and firepower. Fleet Marshal Boren was confident. He broadcast his intention across the galaxy. The Ninth Fleet failed because they underestimated the humans. I will not make that mistake. The 12th Fleet will crush Earth's military and burn their colonies to ash. This insult will be avenged. Ambassador Dae-hyun returned to the Galactic Council with a request. Would the Council permit human ships to patrol Vryn-adjacent space? Just to keep the peace, of course. To contain the conflict and prevent it from spreading. The Council, now thoroughly terrified of what humanity might do, agreed immediately. They thought Dae-hyun was asking for permission to defend human territory from a better position. They were wrong. On Earth, in the deep underground command center, General Isul reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Vryn 12th Fleet was gathering at the Corvus Prime shipyards. It would take them another 3 weeks to finish preparations and move out. She turned to the young officer standing beside her. Commander Taemin was barely 30 years old, but he was the finest strategic mind Earth had produced in a generation. He had designed the entire battle plan that destroyed the Ninth Fleet. They are making the same mistake again, Taemin said quietly. They think we will wait for them to attack us. They think we fight defensively, and we do not? Isul asked, though she already knew the answer. No, Taemin said. The best defense is to remove the threat before it can strike. We have permission to patrol Vryn space. Let us use it, Isul smiled. Operation Ghost Fleet is approved. Commander Hana, you are cleared to jump. The human fleet did not wait for the Vryn to come to them. Instead, they went straight to the source. Using their advanced stealth technology and superior faster-than-light drives, 37 human ships jumped past every Vryn defense system and emerged deep inside enemy territory, right at the Corvus Prime shipyards, where the 12th Fleet was still being prepared. Fleet Marshal Boren was on the bridge of his new flagship when the alarms went off. At first, he thought it was a drill. Then his sensor officer screamed, Unknown ships emerging from hyperspace. Multiple contacts. They're right on top of us. What? That is impossible. We have sensor nets covering the entire sector. Boren shouted. But impossible or not, the humans were there. And they were not attacking with weapons. Instead, they released something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. Nanite swarms. Billions of microscopic machines, each one smaller than a grain of sand, flooded out from the human ships. They spread through space like a silver cloud, invisible to most sensors, moving with purpose and intelligence. The nanites infiltrated Vryn ships through any opening they could find. Airlocks, weapon ports, exhaust vents, even microscopic gaps in the hull plating. Once inside, they went to work. Reactor control systems failed. Navigation computers crashed. Weapons refused to fire. Communication arrays went silent. Within 2 hours, the entire Vryn 12th Fleet was dead in space. Not destroyed, not damaged, just completely, utterly disabled. Boren stood on his bridge, staring at screens that showed nothing but error messages. His ship still had life support and emergency lighting. That was all. Everything else was offline. "Sir," his communications officer said, using a handheld emergency radio, "we are receiving a broadcast. It is the humans." Commander Hana's face appeared on every working screen throughout the sector. Every Vryn ship, every station, every facility with power could see her. "Fleet Marshal Boren," she said calmly, "your fleet is disabled but intact. Your crews are alive and unharmed. We could have killed you all. Instead, we are giving you a choice. Surrender immediately, and the Vryn Dominion agrees to peace terms, or we will be forced to take more permanent action." Boren found his voice. "How? How did you do this?" Another face appeared beside Hana's. Dr. Minji, the human scientist. She spoke with the calm precision of someone giving a lecture. "Nanotechnology," she explained. "We learned the basic principles from galactic databases. Then we refined it, weaponized it. These nanites can infiltrate any system and disable it without causing permanent damage. We can turn them off just as easily as we turned them on. Your fleet is not destroyed, Marshal Boren. It is simply ours now. Whether it stays yours or becomes scrap metal is your choice." Boren looked around his silent bridge. His crew was staring at him, waiting for orders. But what orders could he give? His fleet was helpless. His weapons were useless. The humans had walked into the heart of Vryn territory and taken everything without firing a single shot. He had been a soldier for 40 years. He knew when a battle was lost. "I surrender," he said quietly. "The Vryn Dominion surrenders. State your terms." Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched the broadcast. They saw one of the greatest military commanders in Vryn history admit defeat without a single shot being fired. They saw humanity's power on full display, and they understood finally what Ambassador Daehyun had been trying to tell them all along. Humanity was not just another species. They were something the galaxy had not seen in a very long time. They were survivors who had turned survival into an art form. They were warriors who fought smarter, not harder. They were the ones you did not want as enemies, because when humanity warned you, they meant it. The peace negotiations took place in the Galactic Council chamber. Every major species sent representatives. The gallery was packed with observers. This was not just about the Vryn surrendering to humanity. This was about the entire galaxy's future. Ambassador Daehyun stood at the center of the chamber, calm and professional as always. Beside him was Commander Hana, now wearing the insignia of a full admiral. Dr. Minji stood nearby, ready to provide technical explanations if needed. Across from them, Fleet Marshal Boren represented the Vryn Dominion. He looked like a broken man. His military career was over. His fleet was disabled. His people's pride was shattered. But he stood with dignity, ready to accept whatever terms humanity demanded. Daehyun began reading Earth's terms. The Vryn would withdraw from all disputed territories immediately. They would pay reparations to human colonies for the attempted invasion. 3 border systems would be ceded to Earth as a buffer zone. All Vryn military forces would stay at least 10 light years from human space for the next 50 years. The terms were harsh but not cruel. Earth was not trying to destroy the Vryn. They were just making sure this would never happen again. When Daehyun finished, Boren simply nodded. "The Vryn Dominion accepts these terms. We have no choice. You have proven yourselves the superior force." Counselor Wraith, who had been silent throughout the proceedings, finally spoke. His voice was quiet, almost afraid. "Ambassador Daehyun," the council must ask, "why? Why did you not simply destroy both Vryn fleets? You clearly had the power. Why show mercy? Daehyun turned to face the council. His expression was serious. Because humanity understands something that many of you seem to have forgotten. War is not about killing. It is about achieving your goals. Our goal was never to destroy the Vryn. It was to stop them from threatening us. We have achieved that goal. He paused, letting his words sink in. But make no mistake. What you witnessed was us showing restraint. This is what humanity is capable of when we are being merciful. Remember that. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some species demanded that humanity be expelled from the council immediately. They argued that any species with such devastating military power was too dangerous to be allowed near civilized space. Others suggested containment, surrounding human territory with monitoring stations. Then Councillor Vey rose to her feet, the ancient serpentine being moved slowly to the center of the chamber. When she raised her hand, the room fell silent. I must tell you all something, Vey said, her voice heavy with age and sadness. A secret the council has kept for 3,000 years. She activated a holographic display. Ancient text appeared, written in a language so old that only a few scholars could read it. Vey translated. These are records from the precursors, the civilization that existed before ours. They were more advanced than we could ever imagine. They explored the entire galaxy and beyond, and in their records they left a warning. The hologram shifted, showing an image of a world. It looked similar to Earth with blue oceans and green continents. The precursors encountered a species much like humanity. Vey continued. They called them the Relentless Ones. These beings were not the strongest or the fastest. They were not the most intelligent or the most technologically advanced. But they were survivors. Adapters. They took every challenge and turned it into an advantage. They learned from every enemy and became stronger. Vey's voice grew somber. The Relentless Ones nearly destroyed the galaxy. Not through malice, but through their nature. They were too good at war, too effective at survival. The precursors barely managed to stop them, and the cost was enormous. After that war, the precursors left this galaxy seeking peace elsewhere. She looked directly at Daehyun. Before they left, the precursors recorded one final message. They said if we ever encountered another species like the Relentless Ones, we should pray they are on our side. Because if they are not, nothing will stop them. The chamber was silent. Everyone understood what Vey was saying. Humanity was like the Relentless Ones. Maybe they were even the same species, returned after millions of years. Either way, the galaxy had a choice to make: fight humanity and face destruction, or accept them as allies and hope for the best. Daehyun spoke into the silence. Councillor Vey, I cannot speak to what the precursors encountered. I do not know if we are related to these Relentless Ones or not, but I can tell you this. Humanity does not want to conquer the galaxy. We do not want to rule over other species. We just want to be left alone to live our lives in peace. He gestured toward Admiral Hana. But if someone threatens us, if someone attacks our worlds or our people, we will respond. And our response will be total, not because we are cruel, but because we are thorough. We learned long ago that half measures in war only lead to more war. Dr. Minji stepped forward. May I add something? At Daehyun's nod, she continued. Humanity evolved as persistence hunters. On our world, we did not chase prey to exhaustion. We tracked it. We followed it. We outlasted it. That same principle applies to how we approach conflict. We do not need overwhelming force. We just need to make victory inevitable. She pulled up a display showing human history. For 10,000 years, we fought among ourselves. Every technology we developed was eventually used for warfare. Fire, agriculture, mathematics, aviation, nuclear energy, artificial intelligence, all of it became weapons at some point. When you shared your galactic technology with us, we did not see peaceful applications first. We saw military potential. Your stealth technology became our cloaking systems. Your energy shields we studied to find weaknesses. Your plasma weapons we analyzed and decided kinetic projectiles would penetrate them better. You gave us the tools and we turned them into the most effective military force this galaxy has seen in 3,000 years. Fleet Marshal Boren, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. She is right. I have fought in 100 battles. I have commanded fleets for decades, but I have never seen anything like what the humans did to us. It was not just their technology. It was their mindset. They did not fight to win battles. They fought to win the war before the first shot was fired. He looked at the council. Do you understand what I am saying? The humans disabled 2 entire Vryn fleets, thousands of ships, and they lost almost nothing. Their casualties in 2 major engagements, less than 200 personnel. That is not just superior technology. That is a completely different approach to warfare. Counselor Wraith, who had mocked humanity just months ago, now looked terrified. What do we do? How do we protect ourselves from this? Daehyun's response was simple. You do not threaten us. You do not attack us. You treat us as equals and respect our sovereignty. Do that and you have nothing to fear from humanity. Vey nodded slowly. The ambassador is right. We have 2 choices. We can make humanity our enemy and face the same fate as the Vryn fleets, or we can accept them as partners and benefit from their protection. She looked around the chamber. I propose a vote. Humanity will be granted full council membership with voting rights. They will also be designated as the peacekeeping force for the galaxy. When conflicts arise between species, humanity will mediate and, if necessary, enforce peace. There was nervous murmuring. Giving humans that much power seemed dangerous. But then again, they already had the power. This would just make it official. The vote was called. 1 by 1, species cast their ballots. When the counting was done, the result was nearly unanimous. Only a handful of species voted against, and they were all far from human space. Humanity was now officially part of the galactic order. Not as subordinates or newcomers, but as equals. More than equals, really. They were the guardians. Daehyun accepted the council's decision with a simple bow. Humanity thanks you for your trust. We will not abuse it. When you need us, we will be there. When you do not, we will stay out of your way. But know this, the age of conquest in this galaxy is over. Any species that tries to take what is not theirs will answer to Earth. As the council session ended and delegates began to leave, Vey approached Daehyun privately. Ambassador, may I ask you something? Of course, Counselor. Are you the relentless ones? Are you the same species the precursors encountered? Daehyun was quiet for a moment. I honestly do not know, Counselor. But does it matter? Whether we are the same species or just similar, the result is the same. Humanity is here now and we are not going anywhere. Vey nodded sadly. Then I hope you meant what you said about wanting peace. Because if you ever decide to conquer instead of protect, nothing in this galaxy will stop you. We meant it, Daehyun assured her. Humanity has had enough war. We spent 10,000 years fighting ourselves. We know the cost. We would rather build than destroy. But if someone forces us to choose, we will always choose survival. That, Vey said softly, is exactly what I am afraid of. 6 months had passed since the Vryn surrender. The galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. Admiral Hana, formerly commander, now commanded the newly formed Terran Defense Fleet. She had 50 ships under her command now, though Earth was building more every month. Her first assignment as the galaxy's peacekeeper came from an unexpected source. 2 alien species, the Corvin hegemony and the Taelish Confederacy, had been at war for 30 years. They were fighting over a resource-rich moon that both claimed. Millions had died. Neither side would back down. The Galactic Council had tried everything. Trade sanctions, diplomatic missions, peacekeeping proposals. Nothing worked. The Corvin and Taelish hated each other too much to listen to reason. Then the Council sent humanity to fix the problem. Hana arrived at the disputed moon with 3 ships. Just 3. The Corvin military commanders laughed when they saw how few ships the humans brought. The Taelish did the same. Both sides had hundreds of vessels in the system. Hana opened communication channels to both species. Her message was identical to each. This is Admiral Hana of the Terran Defense Fleet. The Galactic Council has authorized humanity to mediate this conflict. You have 48 hours to reach a peaceful agreement. If you cannot, we will impose one. Stand down your military forces and prepare for negotiations. The Corvin commander responded with mockery. 3 human ships against our entire fleet? Go home, Admiral. This is not your concern. The Taelish commander was even more aggressive. If you interfere, human, we will treat you as hostile. Leave now or share the Corvin's fate when we destroy them. Hana did not argue. She simply said, You have been warned, and closed the channel. 48 hours later, when neither side had made any effort to negotiate, Hana gave the order. The 3 human ships moved into position. They did not fire weapons. They did not threaten. They just released nanite swarms, the same technology that had disabled the Vryn 12th Fleet. Within 6 hours, every Corvin and Telesh military installation in the system was offline. Ships were disabled, weapons platforms were dead, ground bases had no power. Not a single shot was fired. Not a single life was lost. The war simply stopped. Then Hana broadcast her message again. Your war is over. Your military infrastructure is temporarily disabled. It will be restored once you agree to peace terms. The disputed moon will be designated neutral territory, administered by the Galactic Council. Both species will have equal access to its resources. These terms are non-negotiable. You have 24 hours to accept, or your military capabilities will be permanently removed. The Corvin and Telesh, faced with the reality of humanity's power, agreed within 12 hours. A war that had lasted 30 years ended in 3 days. News of this spread quickly. Other species began to understand what humanity's peacekeeping really meant. It was not about negotiation or compromise. It was about results. If you would not make peace, humanity would make peace for you. Back at the Galactic Council, Ambassador Daehyun explained Earth's philosophy to the assembled representatives. Humanity does not believe in endless diplomacy, he said calmly. We believe in setting clear boundaries and enforcing them. We do not want to dominate anyone. We do not want to control anyone. But we will not allow senseless conflicts to continue when we have the power to stop them. Dr. Minji, who now served as Earth's chief scientific advisor to the Council, added her perspective. War is a failure of both sides to find peaceful solutions. But sometimes species become so focused on fighting that they forget why they started. Humanity's role is to force them to remember, to make them realize that continuing the fight costs more than making peace. Over the next few months, humanity mediated 7 more conflicts. Each time the result was the same. Quick, decisive action, minimal casualties, lasting peace. The galaxy was learning that having humanity as peacekeepers was both a blessing and a curse. Blessed because conflicts ended quickly. Cursed because your pride would be hurt when 3 human ships shut down your entire military without breaking a sweat. But then something changed. Something that would test humanity's resolve like never before. A deep space monitoring station detected a signal from beyond the galaxy. It was ancient technology, dormant for millions of years. The signal translated to a simple message in the precursor language. They are returning. Commander Taemin, promoted from his previous position, was assigned to investigate. He took a small research vessel to the source of the signal. What he found there chilled him to his core. It was a precursor warning beacon. Its database contained information about an enemy the precursors had faced long ago. An enemy so terrible that the precursors had abandoned the galaxy rather than face them again. They were called the Harvesters. They traveled from galaxy to galaxy, consuming all advanced civilizations they found. They turned entire worlds into raw materials. They saw other species not as equals or even as enemies, but as resources to be collected, and according to the beacon, they were 3 years away from Council space. Taemin brought this information back to Earth. General Isil reviewed the data with growing concern. Then she called an emergency meeting of the Council. When the galaxy's leaders learned about the Harvesters, panic spread like wildfire. Some species wanted to flee to other galaxies. Others wanted to hide, hoping the Harvesters would pass them by. A few wanted to try diplomacy, though the precursor records made it clear the Harvesters did not negotiate. The Council chamber descended into chaos. Representatives were shouting over each other. Some were crying. Others were already making plans to evacuate their homeworlds. Then Admiral Hana stood up. She did not shout. She just stood there waiting. Slowly, the chamber quieted. Representatives of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice calm and steady. You asked humanity to be your protectors. We accepted that responsibility. Now an enemy comes that threatens us all. The precursors ran from them. But we will not. She looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many beings as possible. Humanity has 3 years to prepare. That is more than enough time. We will study the Harvesters. We will find their weaknesses. We will develop weapons and tactics to defeat them, and when they arrive, we will be ready. But we cannot do this alone, Hana continued. We need every species to contribute. Your scientists, your engineers, your resources. Together we can build a defense that will stop the Harvesters. Divided, we will all fall. She paused, then added the words that would echo through galactic history. You asked us to keep the peace. You asked us to protect you. Now I am telling you what the Vryn learned too late. When humanity makes a promise, we keep it. We promise to protect this galaxy. We will not run. We will not hide. We will fight. And if you stand with us, we will win. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Counselor Vey, tears streaming down her ancient face, stood up. I vote yes. My species stands with humanity. One by one, other species stood. The Corvin, whose military humanity had disabled just months ago. The Telesh, who had threatened war against humans. Even the Vryn, represented now by a new ambassador, stood in support. Within an hour, the entire council had voted unanimously. Every species would contribute to the defense. Humanity would lead the effort. Ambassador Daehyun stood at the center of the chamber and made one final statement. 3 years from now, when the harvesters arrive, they will find something the precursors never showed them. They will find a united galaxy. They will find species who have put aside their differences to face a common threat, and they will find humanity, who has spent 10,000 years learning how to survive the impossible. He activated a communicator and began recording a message. This message would be broadcast into deep space, aimed at the approaching harvester fleet. This is Ambassador Daehyun of Earth, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Council. We have received your approach and understand your intentions. This message is your only warning. This galaxy is under our protection. Every world, every species, every civilization is guarded by humanity and our allies. If you turn back now, you will be allowed to leave in peace. If you continue toward Council space, you will face the same fate as the Vryn Ninth Fleet. You will be warned. You will be given a chance to retreat. If you refuse, you will be destroyed. Not scattered, not defeated. Destroyed completely and utterly. Your technology will be studied. Your tactics will be analyzed. And you will be forgotten. Daehyun paused, then delivered the final line with absolute certainty. We are humanity. We do not run. We do not hide. We do not lose. This galaxy is ours to protect, and we will die before we let you take it. You have been warned. The message was broadcast across all frequencies in every known language. It would take 2 years to reach the harvesters. They would have 1 year to decide whether to believe it. In the command center on Earth, General Isul and Commander Taimin began planning the defense. They had shipyards to build, weapons to develop, and training to organize. 3 years seemed like a long time, but they knew it would pass quickly. Do you think they will turn back? Taimin asked. Isul shook her head. No, they have been doing this for millions of years. They think they are unstoppable. They will come. Good, Taimin said with a slight smile. Then we will show them what happens when unstoppable meets immovable.